Hello and welcome back to the Navy Knitters podcast. My name is Leontine, the face behind the Navy Knitter, and this is my little happy place where I talk about my knitting, Navy life and all my other creative endeavors. Welcome back on a Sunday evening. I'm a little late, I must say. I already filmed the Q&A that I announced 2 weeks ago on Friday morning for the Dutch viewers. And life happened, so I just took the time. Kids just had their dinner and are almost off to bed, so I finally have some time to also record the Q&A in English. And there were so many of you who sent in questions, and if I combine both languages, I got a lot of questions. And there's probably enough to do 3 or 4 more Q&As. But I have my little list of questions that I picked out for the Dutch. Before we start, I am wearing my Tulster tank top, which I made in drop spell in white and navy. And I just put this one in the washer and dryer because bell tends to, grow a bit, bow, when you wear it. And now it fits nice and snugly again, and I'm really happy with this one. I also have one finished object today. Went very fast. These are the socks that I showed you last time that were still in progress. These are the kiwi socks for my son. And I started with the little tab, the heel tab, and then to see that it's my son's socks, I put in a bumpy ridge here. And then I made a sort of boomerang freestyle heel with a, with a little triangle in here, and then made it long enough. These are very, very stretchy. And this is cotton yarn from Regia, the cotton color. And the only thing I didn't pay very close attention, if you see this. Oh, I have to hold them like this. See the difference? This is a little shorter than this one, but yeah, it doesn't matter, my son loves them anyway. And I still have some yarn left, but I'm taking part in an advent swap, so I hope it's enough and that it's 10 gram about-ish, so I have my first mini skein for the advent calendar. And then I also did some sewing because I promised you a giveaway, and yeah, these are handmade Navy Knitter style. I have this little project bag for you in summer style. These are my favorite to eat. With that, you get a little yarn cozy. Matches in color. And with that, you get a little, hide the face, stitch marker. You want to focus. Stitch marker, and you can use this as either a stitch marker or a beginning of round because it opens up. So yeah, this is a little summer set, and further on I will not tell you yet who won it. A little further down the line I will announce who was the winner of the giveaway. So yeah, I sewed that, and I sewed a few more project bags. And I have 2 little nieces. One just turned 2 last week and one will turn 4 in September. And I have this tradition of making birthday dresses. I started it when my daughter was born, my eldest. And ever since, I'm making birthday outfits for the girls in the family. My son said he did no longer appreciate homemade, my mommy made clothes. So I stopped that pretty fast. But yeah, I was pretty busy with sewing instead of knitting. I will put in a little picture. I made rainbow dresses for the girls and they were very, very much appreciated. So yeah, that's what was going on. We had last day of school last Friday, so 2 days ago. And the kids are off school now on holiday, and we have a 6-week holiday. Also, my husband and I have our time off. We get to enjoy 4 lovely weeks together before we have to start work again. And today it's Sunday evening. Tomorrow, Monday, it's packing day. And Tuesday, we are going to leave for Bretagne in France. and we're traveling in 2 days. So Tuesday, we're traveling to Le Havre, and then the next day we just drive over Le Pont de Normandie and into Bretagne, and we will arrive at our campsite on Tuesday somewhere in the afternoon. So I'm looking forward to that. But first of all, I wanted to announce the giveaway. So I hope that the person who got chosen by the random comment picker can drop me a line pretty fast, so I can still put the package or post the package before we leave. Otherwise, I will probably take it to France with me and send it from France or something. So let's start with the actual Q&A. Who taught me how to knit? I think I started, well, it's my grandmother who taught me. She was always knitting socks, and at some point I got interested in learning how to knit socks. So I asked her. She was knitting with these very long DPNs, like 30 centimeters, and she would put one down her armpit and hold it and knit with the other hand. It was very complicated. And also she was very panicky that I would stab myself with the knitting needles. She had some kind of a horror story that she knew a girl who was running around with a set of knitting needles in her hand, and it got right through her. Well, anyway, that's the horror story my grandma always told me to keep me from running or quickly walking with knitting needles in my hand. But she taught me, and I don't know how old I was. I mean, may have been 12, 13-ish. I wrote down her pattern, and I put it in a blue folder, and I think during all the times I moved, I must have misplaced it or thrown it away. But I still have one pair of socks that I knit according to the pattern of my grandma. So I will restudy them and try to make up what the pattern was. Then I lost interest in knitting. I also remember my very first, well, when she sat down with me and taught me how to make socks, that she told me that I had to get sock yarn. And I remember going into town. I was living in Nijmegen, almost on the German border of the Netherlands, in eastern Netherlands. And I remember walking into the yarn store and picking up a color that was white with kind of minty and pinky speckles on there. And I clearly remember that she said, you have to pick a sock yarn. Remember that, otherwise you will wear through your socks very fast. So I still remember those. Then I lost interest in knitting somehow. And when I went back to university, I was back at my grandma's, and we were co-living in her house, actually. No, she took me in while I studied in Nijmegen. And I got my interest back in knitting socks because it was nice to do in the evening in front of the TV when I needed to break from studying. And so I took it back up. I knitted some socks for friends, and I knitted a lot of baby socks because that was something that went pretty fast. But still, I was knitting with these really long DPNs. Well, then I lost interest again. Life happened. Well, instead of working in the field I studied for, I joined the Navy and forgot all about knitting. When I was pregnant with my girl, I discovered sewing. And from then on, I was actually sewing more. So literally, when I found out I was pregnant and having a girl, I went to IKEA and bought a sewing machine for like 40 euros and started my first project, and also my very first birthday dress. I still have it, and it was sewn on this very IKEA machine. In the meanwhile, I inherited the sewing machines when my stepmother-in-law passed away, and once we moved in here to our, I would say, forever home, they went up to the attic room, and this is my little sewing studio. At that time, my husband was still at sea a lot. He's also in the Navy, and I would sit there in the evenings or afternoons or when the kids were napping and sewing. But when he came back and he had a short posting, he said, well, it's not really that fun when you're sitting upstairs all the time sewing while I'm downstairs on the sofa watching TV. And so at the time I took dance classes, and I saw one of my co-dancers, and she was knitting socks a lot. And she had this and she taught me that she just taught, I don't know if she was self-taught but she was making socks from this book, Socks book, Colorful Socks. can show you some of them here. And there's some more in the back. And she was knitting all kinds of socks from this book. And I thought, oh, this looks so nice. I knew how to make socks. And she also said that she did it with these very tiny circular needles and not with the long ones. And I was like, maybe this would be something that I could enjoy and actually do while sitting next to my husband on the sofa. And so, as you see, I bought the book. And this is from Kerstin Balke and Stina and Stitch. It's her artist name. And I bought this. I bought circular needles. I bought the wool. And these are actually the very first socks I made from the book when I rediscovered knitting. And there's plenty of mistakes. I had to go back. There's holes in here. There's a lot of holes in here. This is the other side. This was a boomerang heel. Not perfect by any means, but very, very well worn by my daughter. I actually could give them a second life by running a deep pillar over it, but they held up pretty well. And they also went through the washing machine quite a lot of times. But yeah, these were actually my first socks, and I didn't really think it was too complicated with all the, it's very well explained in the book. And I just like Pippi Longstocking my way through it. Like, I've never done this before. I'm sure I can do this. So yeah, this was my actually first pair, and they don't fit her anymore. My son doesn't care about pink, but I'm going to keep these as a reminder how I restarted or refound my love of knitting. So it all started with socks, then more socks followed. And then I did my very first garment, which is this one. And this is, I think, the Posy tank top by Along Avec Anna. It's a bit frumpled because I just got it from my dresser, and it has this lace motif down here. It's knit bottom up. And I knit this in, the yarn is also the merino from Along Avec Anna, which I bought in Exeter. I was in England with the ship I was on, and we had the weekends off because it didn't have any duty or service. And so I took a day, went to Exeter and wanted to visit her shop, but unfortunately the shop was closed for the day, so I was pretty bummed. Unfortunately, there's another yarn store in Exeter, so I still bought some local yarn, but I had the chance to order it online and had it sent to a colleague who's actually posted in the UK, and I bought this very yarn for my very first garment. If you look closely, you can see that there are some bumpy lines in here. Yeah, you see it here. This is because I had a pretty serious surgery done to this tank top. Oh, here you see clearly these two lines. Because I found that it was too short once I finished it. So no way I was going to unravel the entire thing and knit more, because it would mean that I had to unravel all the triangles. So I just took a pair of scissors and cut it and transplanted 5 centimeters because I had enough yarn left. I just knitted in 5 centimeters and kitchen-knit the whole thing together again. This also was a thing I had never done, but I had the choice of not wearing this or not liking this enough to wear, or just scrape up together all my courage and just clip it. And it worked out pretty well. You see it more on camera than in real life, but I still like to wear it. And this will without a doubt also come with me to our holiday. I hope the lighting stays okay because it gets a little dark here now, but looks good on camera still, I think. Yeah, which brings me to my next question. Do you buy yarn in every place you go with the ship, and do you try to buy local yarn? Actually, yes and yes. When I was stationed on the ship, which I am not anymore, I had every harbor visit except for 2. The very first one was Hamburg, just after Corona. It was my very first, or the very first harbor visit we did with our ship. I met up with a acquaintance I got to know about 20 odd years ago. We met in Morocco, of all places, and she was now living in Hamburg, so I wanted to have tea with her and reconnect with her instead of visiting a yarn store. So Hamburg, I did not buy any yarn, and in Gdansk in Poland I did not buy any because I couldn't find a yarn store anywhere close. I know that there's lovely yarns from Poland, so I still have to buy or order online from a Polish dyer that I know. But yeah, I didn't want to travel that far, and I was pretty busy that weekend. So yeah, that's the only two places I didn't buy local yarn. And whenever I'm in a place or whenever I have to travel for work, I try indeed to buy some local yarn. Sometimes it's really, really local. Like when I went to Exeter to Wool on the X is the shop, I found a yarn that's actually grown, spun and sold in Devon, so right around the corner. So it doesn't get any more local than that, I guess. Oh yeah, here my yarn from Heer Hugo Waard, which I showed you from Polderdraad. That's really, really local. Yeah, that was always the goal, and if it's not local, then at least close to local or dyed locally. And also in Oslo, I bought 2 skeins at Oslo Micro Spinnery, and you can look her up, and she really, the owner really grows the sheep, clips the sheep, and sorts the wool, spins it by hand, by herself, dyes it, and then sells it. So these are really, really special skeins that I have. Do you prefer to knit socks or garments? Well, actually this year tends to be the year of socks somehow, because I haven't made this many socks ever. But also garments, but garments take so long. Oh no, the lighting really changes. It's like somebody clipped that, put the light off. But I think it's still okay. No, I like both. Socks go way faster, and I can take them with me everywhere. So I usually have a sock tube or some socks in the car or in the how do you say, in the stables bag, the bag that I take when I go to my daughter's riding lessons. So that's usually sock projects. And I try to make more sock tubes now with afterthought heels, so I just can knit mindlessly in the round, and I try to train not to look at my knitting when I do stockinette in the round. And I think sock tubes are the perfect way to go, because it's not very long. If you make a mistake, you just drop a stitch or unravel a bit, and it's not too complicated. It's not too big to take in your handbag. But yeah, I also love garments. I have a ton of to knit garments, also from all this local yarn that I bought on the way. Yeah, so I wouldn't say I have a preference for one or the other. There, I'm back. Which needles do you prefer to knit with? Right now, I would almost say that a 3 mil. I don't know the US size, the European size 3 millimeters, 3.5. That's really one I really like. And then I usually knit with Chaogu needles. When I started knitting with this one, I found out that I wanted to knit with the small circular ones, and I was contemplating buying single sets of small circulars, but then I thought, you know what, I should invest in the tools I work with, and I'm worth it. So I bought a set of Chaogu lace needles, the red little bag for my socks, and then afterwards, when I started knitting garments, I upgraded to the Chaogu set of 10 centimeter needles. It has to be 10 centimeter or 8 centimeter. They also exist in 13, and then I just feel like I'm knitting with swords or something. So I can't do 13 centimeters somehow. They're too long. I accidentally bought a set, which I was very fortunate to be able to switch with a lovely girl that came to a knitters get together we organized, and she had the problem the other way around. She accidentally bought 2 short ones, and so we were both very happy we could exchange the needle size. Yeah, let's see. Where did you learn how to knit so regular, or with the stitch, we say definition? No, I just Pippi Longstocking my way through, and I think blocking makes all the difference. I'm the person who would knit a garment with a pullover with 3 arms and say, well, blocking will probably fix it. No, I have a tremendous faith in blocking, and I'm just not that picky. Yeah, also this with the strap spell, the stitch definition or the stitches are sometimes a bit uneven. they get better every time you wash it in the washing machine, I must say. And I'm just not that picky when it comes to the look. I mean, it's not made in a factory, and if I like it, then it's fine. If somebody else only sees mistakes or irregular stitches, then I think it's kind of their problem. As long as I like it and I'm proud of what I made, then I don't allow anybody else to really have an opinion on it, I think. So all inner perfectionists go home and just accept it like the way it is. And yeah, it's just by pure exercise. I mean, I've been knitting for that long now, and yeah, just winging it, washing it a lot. Do you prefer top down or bottom up? I actually do prefer top down, because then it allows me to make better fit checks and to adjust for the length, because in a lot of patterns I find that they're too cropped for my liking. I still haven't found my magic numbers. I'm looking for them. Well, with every garment I knit, I get better. And if it's really a bottom up garment that I knit, I often will put in a how do you call it, how do you call that cast on method? I can't remember, I can't find the word, but a provisionary cast on, so that I would just cast on and put it around like a tube or a barbicorn, and then I will try it on, and then when it needs more length I will just add length once I finished the top part, so to avoid having to do surgery like I did with my tank top. And the other, well, yeah, otherwise I would prefer top down, just because it gives me more options to make it fit the way I want it to and the right length. What are your favorite knitting accessories? That's a good one. I would say everything I make and sell in my shop. Stitch markers, especially these with the little rings on top. How can I show you with that open up and double as beginning of round markers and stitch markers or progress keepers. And the other one I cannot show you because it's inside, are these, my yarn cozies. I will just run inside and show you. I'm back. I just ran inside to grab my other work in progress. If you are taking part in the surprise sock along by Stephen West, I'm going to show my finished clue 2 now. So if you don't want to see it, close your eyes, just have a listen. But this, ta-ta-da-da, is my inside out. Now I have to turn it the right side because I was... Look at this beauty! I would never invent something like this in a sock, but I'm quite pleased. Even the brioche part is really pretty. This is yarn from Wol met Verven, and this is with a stellina in there, and this is from an advent from 2 years ago. But I also knitted on that, so that's my whip. But I wanted to show you my yarn cozies in action, because these are center pull cakes, and I just popped them in a little yarn cozy like that. This is on my old label. And they stay this way. They stay nicely. They don't unravel. I can throw them in a project bag and they stay like that. And however, you see the difference. These are my small ones. My everything blows away here. These little cakes that really do unravel are my minis, so I have to find the right size to make mini skein socks, yarn cozies for these. So I'm still working on that, but yeah, I found out that I really need mini socks. So I think that's my, oh yeah, and the can't live without thing are these stitch markers. You all know, the light bulb ones. I have them in all colors, and yeah, they're in every project bag by the dozen. I do everything with them, so that's really my need to have, I would say. It's getting windy. I hope you don't hear too much background noise. Then I had a question which I have to translate literally. Let's see if I can find it. The light goes off. Oh no. No, my lamp just died. I hope the light is still okay enough for you. So here's the question. Imagine your Navy ship being stranded and you're going to be on the ship for months on end. Fortunately, you have an unexpirable stash of yarn with you, but there's only one type of yarn or one brand of yarn. Which yarn would that be? With other words, what's your favorite yarn this far up until now? First of all, let's hope that doesn't happen, because we're all trained to do damage control on the ship. So if we would get stranded or hit a rock or something underwater, I wouldn't have time to think about knitting, because I would immediately do everything to go to my station and do this thing I need to do to prevent the ship from sinking. I don't know if I've told you this before, but actually the most dangerous thing that can happen on a ship is having a fire. You wouldn't say that, but you cannot call 911, so the fire brigade won't come. You have to sort it out yourself. And because it's a big steel canoe without windows, basically, windows that you can open to get the smoke out. Smoke is actually the most important thing you want to watch out for. Smoke is a real killer. It's not the fire itself, it's the smoke that goes through the entire ship. So whenever there's an emergency, if there's a fire or anything, we have like Pavlov reactions. We are all trained to go to our station and do the thing that needs to be done by us at that particular moment. So that's in case of fire. That's also in case of we want to run aground or like rip open the side of the ship by some kind of accident. So if you would have that, we would try to stop the leaking and pump out as much water as we can, and then make sure we get timber and, well, build a construction to stop water coming in. So the first thought would certainly not be of me knitting, but it would just be a Pavlov reaction to go to my station and do the damage control. But let's say, hypothetically, if we would be run on a sandbank and sit there for 4 weeks or months on end, and I would have an unexpirable yarn stash, I think for the colors I would go with Olivia and Oliver fibers, because I love the way Tam dyes. I still have last year's Advent, which I wanted to turn into a cardigan by the Crayabea. I can't remember the name, for the love of God. I also couldn't remember it on Friday for the Dutch episode. But yeah, that's still waiting for me, and I just love her colorways. And I would have it on a merino high twist or something, because I can do almost anything with it, from garment to socks to accessories. If it would be a yarn brand, I would probably go with Rauma yarn, Finial, because it comes in tons of colors. It's rustic, but not too rustic. Just now having a whip. It's the festive yoke sweater that I'm making in Rauma Finial, and it also has a big variety of colors. And I think I would go with that one, because I guess it would give me all the options to make anything with it, without being too rusticy, but still not a super wash yarn. So yeah, I think I would go with that. And the person asking me that also won the Dutch giveaway. What's on your wish list, and what technique do you want to try that you haven't done yet? Something I really haven't done yet and I want to dip my toes into is steeking. I'm still a bit, I wouldn't say afraid, very respectful of it, and not anxious, a little hesitant still. But this is a technique I would like to try at some point, because I think I need more cardigans in my life, and probably also one with a zip in it. So maybe it's going on my to knit list. Yeah. What is your favorite color to knit with? I would almost say light colors and cream colors, because I have this romantic idea of owning a all over cable sweater, fisherman's jersey, and they all come in cream colors in my mind. No, but I knit a lot of like lighter colors, creamy, pinky. I haven't got that many garments. For my shirts, it's almost, well, it's often rosé-ish, pinkish. But when it comes to favorite color, I'd say blue. But I haven't done a lot of knitting in blue yet. How much time do you spend knitting in your everyday life? Well, sometimes people get really surprised how much knitting time I get, but it's really all the stolen moments. The 5 minutes when the kids are having breakfast and I'm done, then I can just sneak in 5 rounds of sock. Doing the school run and waiting for the school bell, I can sneak in 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of sock knitting. And usually it's only in the evening when we're sitting down, kids are to bed, and the between time between kids going to bed and us going to bed, that's usually my knitting time. Sometimes more than other days. Some days I don't get to knit at all. I want it to be something relaxing, and I don't want to stress myself out and having to knit. I don't have to do anything. I don't want to force myself to do stuff, so it's just whenever I feel like it, I would say. And then if you look closely in your day, there's a lot of opportunities that you're now sitting and scrolling on your phone. And you always have the choice to just put away your phone or put up some podcasts and just grab your needles, isn't it? Did you decide yet what to bring on vacation? Well, since we're leaving in, 1.5 days, I would say, the day after tomorrow, I am definitely taking my Stephen West sock, since the next clue is coming on Tuesday. I knit only one sock, so I'm glad I did clue 2 within the bracket of a week. I still have to knit the entire second sock, so that's coming with me. Then I want to finish my tall stuff vest that I'm knitting in black yarn, which I showed you last week, and I haven't done much progress on it really. So that would be maybe a nice travel project for in the car, because it's about two days of driving, between 6 and 8 hours. And then I'm undecided. I have the Iris tank top by Along avec Anna that I knit last year. It was 3/4 finished, but I didn't swatch, so I had a serious case of lost yarn chicken, and also the size was completely off. I only have 150 grams. I bought a big skein or a big hank when I was in New York. This is the only yarn I have, and I want to finish the entire garment with it. But I knit completely the wrong size, and it was way too big and way too wide, and well, it was all off. I want to give it another try, but I don't know if I really want to knit lace now. Then I have the Tyrrell summer set that I wanted to knit the pullover off in Saint Nesline, but then that's a whole lot of stockinette in the round for an entire pullover, so I'm not sure about that. And I also was thinking of taking the festive yoke sweater with me. I know it's a woolly wool, it's summer, but still knitting in the air conditioning could be quite nice. And I'm only this far, and it has to be finished by Christmas. I really want to wear it in December, so I probably should give that some time and attention, but I'm undecided yet. Maybe I'll take them all if we have place in the car, since I'm the one packing, playing Tetris. I don't know yet. I'll show you. I'll show you once I'm in Bretagne what I bought and brought. And I'm also thinking of buying some yarn in Bretagne. I don't know yet if I go to the little market in the place called Erquy, where the lovely lady of Laine de Mout is selling her yarn. She had self-stipling sock yarn last year, and I bought 2 skeins in a yellow speckly yarn and a bright pink one to make shorties for both my daughter and for me. And she will be on the market in Erquy, so that I know for sure. Or I order some yarn from Normandy, which is called, how are they called? can't remember the company. Lena West, that's it. And they are from flocks of sheep that actually graze around the Mont Saint-Michel. And that's also, it's not Bretagne, but it's really local, and it's a nice, I like the company. They have very lovely colors, all nature inspired, so that might also be a contender that I could just order and have delivered at the campaign we're going to. Oh, choices. And the last question for this one: did you finish the jardinier sock set from the stone knitting course? Well, that could also be a contender, because I have watched some episodes, but I haven't started the socks yet. And well, I could always sneak in some sock time, and it would also be nice to do it in the car while driving. So I might pack those too. Yeah, well, it's getting a bit chilly now and it's getting a bit dark. But the one thing I haven't done yet is announce the winner of the giveaway of the English episodes. So let's end this Q&A with the question of the winner of the giveaway. It's Yasmi1987, I think. Her question was, what is your preferred method to knit socks? Is it DPNs, shorties, or magic loop, or whatever method? I don't really like magic loop because I always get these ladders. I think my preferred method is really the shorties. So I have the shorty set by Xiaogu, and by now I also have some spare shorties that I bought from Knit Pro, I think, or from Adi. I also have the Crazy Trio by Adi. That one I also love, so I might make the jardinier socks in those. It's wooden. It's not, yeah, well, it's a trio. You see the needles with the really small flexi part in there, and the needles are from wood. That's my second favorite. I do not own DPNs. Well, I do, but I don't knit socks with them. I only have them for my northeasterly blanket. Yeah, so yes, congratulations on winning this set. I will also message you under the comment on the last episode. And this, I have to hold it the right way, of course. This little package is coming your way, and I hope you enjoy some lovely summer knits with this. Then I'd like to say thank you for all of you watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I would really appreciate a thumbs up and a subscription, because it helps get my channel out there. And yeah, thanks again for watching. And if you want to know anything about me, my Navy life, there's a whole lot more of Navy questions that I'm doing a separate Q&A of. Please comment below, ask the questions, and I will write them down from now on in a little log. And then I can do a next Q&A, and I have enough questions for, well, a lot of episodes. So thank you for watching again. Thank you for all your lovely comments, and see you again next time. Bye!